This is a fight that people gonna talk about for a long time, but most importantly, this is a fight that I think will give me and Terrence Crawford, financial security for our families.
If you can talk to me big picture, I remember when we had Tank Davis and he was getting ready to fight Garcia. He said, "Listen, this is the fight where we're risking it, and I'd like to, start things off by saying, hey, look, I want to take big fights and against people who they think should be fighting one another, but I believe that the winner of this fight will be the new face of boxing. This fight is on another level." So in your opinion, what do you think this fight does for Errol Spence Jr.? What does it do for the sport of boxing?
I think it does a lot for the sport of boxing, because more people are gonna be, ready to face each other. And I think this fight is just, Tank and Ryan, great fight, two great fighters, two young stars, and they got great crossover appeal. But I think this fight is just an old school fight, and two best fighters in the weight class, two best fighters in the world, fighting each other. It's rare that you get that, top 5 pound for pound guys, fighting each other who've been in the weight class and fighting each other for belts, and not just belts, all the belts. So I feel like this has a lot of history to it. First time undisputed at welterweight, and you got two old school fighters who are really gonna go in there and go give it their all.
Errol, do you like coming in, let's say, as an underdog? You look at it, this is a 50-50 fight. But if you go to Vegas, they have Bud Crawford as the slight favorite. A lot of people have Bud Crawford as number 1 pound for pound. But when I look at the resumes, it's like, wait a minute, if I'm not mistaken, Errol Spence Jr. is the unified champion. He's got 3 of the belts. He's unbeaten as well. Do you like when you come into situations like this as the underdog? And maybe it's because of everything that you've been through in your past.
Oh, nah, I don't even think about it. You guys remind me more than myself. I don't think about it at all. That's not, what I'm focused on. It really doesn't matter. It's just like when you watch even Floyd's career, every time he accomplished something, they move the goalposts. So I feel once I beat Terrence Crawford, it's gonna be somebody and make some type of, they're gonna move the goalposts again and say I've been away class too long or to wait. But I might be a big welterweight, but I never missed a weight. Never missed a weigh in, never miss weight off 0.1, none of that. Always at the weight or under. So
I love it. When you look at this fight, what do you think it'll come down to? You're both highly skilled, both punchers, both will knock you out. When it comes into the ring, what do you think this fight basically is going to boil down to?
Well, I think it's going to boil down to grit, nation, focus, see who body and mind can, stand not only the most punishment, but and going through different highs and lows in the fight. Because I believe in the fight it's gonna be, highs and lows. Pick it up, and then I might pick it up. We both might pick it up in the fight. And I feel like whoever can, adapt or whoever can impose their style on that opponent, that's who's gonna win the fight.
What's going on, Boxing Heads? Bull Counter Boxing coming at you with another video. So that was Errol Spence Jr., doing his podcast with Brian Custard, and he talks a little bit about, the big picture of boxing. with all the big fights happening this year, it is a great year for boxing. And with this fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Bud Crawford, it's gonna make everybody want to fight. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody's gonna start trying to come together and outdo the other company and try to put on big fights. So, but this is an old school fight. This is, one of them fights from, the Mayweather era that's kind of tied up from that end of things, right? Tank and Ryan's more new school, and Bud Crawford, who came in 2008, Errol came in 2012, to become professionals to fight. So they always been on a collision course ever since Bud Crawford moved up to 154. Now, Brian Custard, talked about a little bit about how do Errol feel about being an underdog, right? Because everybody knows, and if you just keep it objective, that Errol Spence Jr. has fought the better competition, at 147. It don't matter how many divisions you move up. It just means you started out as a lighter fighter. And then if you don't have the competition in those weight classes, then, it don't equal, and you have good competition at 147, then that's where all the accolades is, because you're only as good as the opposition that you have fought. And when you compare the resumes, you look at Bud Crawford, who he fought across the board, going all the way back, all across from 135 to 147. He did not fight the top guys at 147. He played it safe by staying at top rank, and he did not fight Sean Porter and Kell Brook at their best. Yes, he didn't fight them at their best. So, that's just a little bit of what EJ was talking about, that, when you talk about, Bud Crawford, things get a little crosswise where they give him more inflation of his career than he deserved. And look like it's just a bias against the PBC, or it's a bias against PBC fighters. Because, if you, like Errol Spence said, if you look at Stephen Fulton's career, they're just hell bent on putting Inoue on top of everybody, even though nobody knows who he fought except for Denier. And they'll use one victory against one, 40-year-old champion to put him over all the black fighters, right? I mean, he's a great, don't get me wrong, Inoue is a bad boy, but he ain't as bad as Boots. He ain't bad as Errol Spence Jr. He ain't bad as Bud Crawford. He's not as bad as Stephen Fulton. So, any excuse to do. And it just looked like, they would move the goalposts and give any excuse. If you've been out the ring too long, they'll use that excuse. That has nothing to do with the performances and the skills in the ring, right? And don't get, I like Inoue, and he's a great athlete, but he's not doing nothing to compare, to Errol Spence Jr. or Bud Crawford. He has no right to be ahead of these guys, because he don't bring the excitement to the ring. It's just like they just need one little incident, to put, Errol Spence Jr. and Bud Crawford and all these fighters. I remember when they put Lomachenko ahead of these guys. So, it is some systematic bias going on. And, so if you don't admit that, then you just don't want to keep it real. But, Errol Spence Jr. said, yeah, this is a historical fight, and he understands what's on the line. That's why he's pulling out all the stops. Taking care of his body, hiring nutritionists, like really paying attention to the details, his flexibility. He wants to be in, super shape. He want to have that extra edge to when it comes down to the wire, like he was saying, who is going to win and what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to who's taking care of themselves and who's in the best shape. Every little small intangible is going to be, it's going to be a part of the outcome of who wins, right? So, whoever could dig deep and find that extra, cauldron of energy, to have that backup reserve is probably going to win this fight. But I don't think it's a 50-50 fight. I do think that Errol Spence Jr. has fought the tougher competition in fighting, the Kell Brooks, the Mikey Garcias, fighting the Sean Porters and the Danny Garcias and the Ugas. And those are fighters that all those fighters, Terrence Crawford never faced. And he didn't face them for a reason, because they were risk, right? And this is something that get glossed over time and time again when we have this conversation. And But I do think it's going to come down to who wins the more, and I think that's Errol Spence Jr. But this has been Pool Kind of Boxing. Make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to my channel. Peace.